Hi, today is the last part about emotional vampires based on the book of Albert Bernstein. And today's topic is paranoid types. Seeing things what others can't. So, paranoids probably are the most misunderstood because people have wrong image what paranoids actually are. So, and paranoids can't tolerate ambiguity. To them, nothing accidental or random. Everything means something, and everything relates to everything else. This sort of thinking can lead to genius or to psychosis. It depends on how it's used. And of course, they see things what others can't. But do the things they see actually exist? That's the question. These vampires have tendency toward paranoid personality disorder. Most of the people misunderstand what paranoid actually means, even those who treat it. Word paranoia means thinking beside oneself. Today, paranoids have been used to describe virtually all forms of craziness, especially those involving false beliefs, not the false belief itself. Paranoids are cursed or blessed, if you want, with ability to see very tiny clues. Many people ignore these tiny clues. Paranoids try to sort it all in categories: love or hate, yes or no, truth or falsehood. Sometimes in their search for simple answers, paranoids can see through all forms of subterfuge to the heart of matter, and very easily they can rip that heart out and in the pieces, especially if it belongs to someone close whose only crime is being a human. Paranoids never see their own role in creating the ambiguity that terrifies them so much. They are very suspicious, and they are pushing people away from them, even those who said that will be there always. Naturally, paranoids become more protective and suspicious. What makes paranoid person a paranoid is a fear of being in intimacy with their own soul. They are terrified out of ambiguity that comes with closeness. In place of love, they search for purity and truth. Paranoids seldom forgive. Puritans try to punish only the sin. Paranoids happily consign the sinners to the flames. Paranoid vampires vacillate between extreme naivety and utter cynics. Their goal is to achieve a happy world, or family or business, in which everyone follows the same simple and rigid rules as they do. When people go along, paranoids are happy, loving and giving. If someone else wants to think for themselves, paranoid take it as personal insult. They feel disappointed and hurt. When paranoids get hurt, they hurt others. From all vampire types, paranoids are the most determined and conscious hypnotists. They invented cults, brainwashing what keeps their existence alive. They create alternative realities where all rewards depend on belief and loyalty. Obsessive compulsives tell you to work hard if you want to get to the paradise. Paranoids telling you all you have to do is to believe them. If you stop believing, you will pay hell for that. What's like to be paranoid? Imagine you are on the date with your dream man or woman, and all the time you are trying to see clues, even in every detail. Vampires analyze every conversation with the same degree of scrutiny. Their mind mostly dwells on negativity. Paranoid existence is one perceived betrayal after another. Their suffering is exquisite. The sorrow and pretentious center from which their entire universe radiates. Being paranoid hurts like hell. Some of them give up on reality and withdraw completely into the world of delusion. More sane vampires attract friends or lovers on whom they rest the entire burden of keeping them safe and sane. Even thinking about paranoid behavior is exhausting. Imagine of being one. Paranoia can do terrible harm to humanity or giving a gift of creativity. Paranoids and narcissists are the world's two most creative sources of creativity. They are sworn enemies because of the strong feeling to lead. It's like fight the devil and both sides claiming that they are the good ones. With narcissists, you will get power and wealth going only to privileged few. And with paranoids, you get persecution if you don't live the same strict rules as they do. Anyway, in the result, many little people been squashed. In the world of paranoids, the line between perceptiveness and suspicion is thin like spider web and sharper than razor blade. They adopt people whom they should trust. Everyone for them are suspicious. Paranoids need answers, even if there are none. For paranoids, everything is simple and clear. Paranoids love good conspiracy theory. They are ready to give their lives for what they believe in, and they are also who are taking lives. Paranoids are unpredictable. One moment they shower you with affection and next moment with cold water. Their moods are dependent on momentary perception of the honesty and faithfulness of people around them. They can attack you so fast that you can't understand what hit you. Most of their attacks are tests of loyalty. If you pass, they calm down immediately. If you don't, brace yourself to argue all night. But this type of vampires are open to criticism and they apologize when they are wrong. But it does not last long. Often they will shift slightly to get some sort of confession from you. You can easily become a betrayal in their mind. If you are married or in a relationship with paranoid, be ready for the drama of your life and the jealousy of your life. They don't understand the concept of trust. They never seem to realize that trust is supposed to be in their own mind rather in the actions of other people. If you are close to those vampires, you will have to earn and re-earn trust continuously. This is especially for those whose relationship is sexual. In their search for truth, paranoids connect everything with everything else and then take it personally. For paranoids, the universe is conspiracy designed to make their lives miserable. Paranoids believe the revenge is a cure, but they don't see that this is the cause for their misery. So, how to protect yourself? Don't hide anything. The vampire will find it anyway. The consequences will be terrible. And second, be loyal, but never accept the burden of proving your loyalty. Once you pick it up, the vampire will never let it put it down. And the other type of paranoids, visionaries and the green-eyed monsters. The strategies to deal with them are very similar as with paranoids, but things they do and say are little different. These vampires create problems in two cases. if you don't give enough attention to them, and second, if you give too much attention. The paranoids are very draining in both cases. To be safe, you have to know vampires well, but know yourself even better. As paranoids are always looking for clues, they will peer into microscopes or cross-examine their loved ones, questioning where they went, with who, and how long. Paranoid vampires' greatest weakness is that they are much more willing to believe in conspiracy than ambiguity. They can draw you with elegant theories and convincing you believing them as facts. They hypnotize you, saying, if you care about them, you should believe in their dubious hidden truths. But worse things will happen if vampires suspect that you are the one who is hiding the truth from them. As Albert Bernstein said, people who tell us what we want to hear always have more power than people who tell us the truth. So, use your own intuition to guide you. The more you force yourself to believe, the more skeptical you should be. Paranoid vampires have delusions, but they can also delude. One of the warning signs is that vampire will discourage you to get outside opinions. Don't let their hurt feeling prevent you from checking out their ideas with someone you trust. Always remember the rule to not let the vampire to be your only source of information. Paranoids believe without doubt in their truth, and it makes them most effective hypnotists, as they hypnotize themselves firstly. And another type of paranoids, visionaries. Now you think about why worry about paranoids? The easy way is to avoid them, but it's not possible. Maybe the paranoids themselves will keep you away, but not their ideas. You will hear them everywhere, mostly on the internet. The most ideas you hear are by paranoid thinking. Some of their ideas are crazy, some are really useful, novel and profitable. The trick is knowing the difference. Even Bill Gates and Steve Jobs had some crazy ideas where people laughed about them. You have to be very careful to recognize those crazy ideas. There are many cures for cancer, turning base metal into gold, astrology, psychic phenomena, and weight loss products. Not all are true. Keep your mind open. Just because idea is complex and difficult to understand, it does not mean it's good. Remember that confusion is one of the warning signs of vampire hypnosis. The important part to understand about any idea is a mechanism, how it's supposed to work. Most crazy ideas are weakest at this point. The angrier vampire becomes when you suggest a second opinion, the more you need one. Always ask what you would gain if you were to buy into idea. The world is full of tempting paranoid ideas. What we wish were true but aren't. Miracle diets, mysterious cures, salvation through belief. Everything what prey on our fervent hope that health and happiness can be achieved without effort. Visionaries come up on ideas what we wish were not true. Annoying doctors telling us that our bad habits are killing us or giving up on things to save the planet. Many of us are inclined to adopt those paranoid ideas, not because of the lack of evidence, but because belief would require us to calm unpleasant changes in our lives. Before you buy into any ideas, check them out to see how well it works. This is what scientific studies are all about. You don't have to be scientist yourself and research, but you have to know it. Scientists are slow to accept new ideas that make them to change the way they think, but they are pursued by evidence. We have heard that also some ideas been rejected by science and that later came out to be true. But these cases are very little. The craziest paranoid ideas usually are untestable, but just because an idea sounds too good does not make it good. If creativity means looking at things differently, paranoid visionaries are the most creative vampires. Many times their crazy ideas stay only in their minds, but their ideas make to look at the things differently. It would take to write a whole book to examine paranoid relationship with the religion. Without paranoid faith in the hidden truth, nobody would know the God. Religion is also the black hole what sucks paranoid to cruelty. Next to religious fanaticism, jealousy is the most dangerous paranoid idea, and most of people tolerate the ambiguity, but green-eyed monsters can't. Loyalty is everything to them, so important that they can't simply accept it on faith. They poke it, they prod it, and all to question it to the death. Paranoid jealousy begins with small, innocent questions. At first, victim can feel even flattery that someone cares about them or worry about that they may see someone else. The feeling of flattery disappears fast when victim realizes that those innocent questions become a regular part of relationship and that there will be never enough answers. Vampires give gifts, protect the victim. Asking for the terrible price of loyalty, been proven again and again forever. Paranoid vampires are always looking for tiniest hint of what victim thinks, says, etc. Inevitably, these vampires will find what they are looking for, but it's not because it's actually there, but because they focus continually on smallest details. No regular human can live up to a paranoid standards of purity for mind. One reason why jealousy is such a problem, because people handle it the wrong way. That teaches to green-eyed monsters that jealous questions are appropriate and will be rewarded with answers. The best way how to face jealousy is this. I may overreact here, but it seems like you are checking on me, and it's kinda frightening. Let me tell this once and forever. I am one-man woman. As long as we are dating, you can be sure that I am not seeing anyone else. You don't need to check on me, and I would not allow. If you can't trust, we have to end things right here. Vampire may make you feel terrible, telling that you are imagining things. This is another way how to manipulate you. Persist for what you said. If you feel you waste your life and time, end the things here. Jealous paranoids are very dangerous. Know yourself well. If you can't be sure of being loyal, don't start a relationship with paranoid. The most dangerous thing about jealousy is that the more you do make it better, the worse it gets. If you answer to paranoid little questions, it will lead to more suspicion and more questions. The only way to win the jealousy game is to not play at all. Jealousy is the green-eyed monster's problem, and there will be never an end to it if you start. Never agree to tests of love. There is no way to prove affection. Only a vampire would suggest that giving up on autonomy has to do anything with love. If someone asks you to prove your love by taking certain actions, ask that person to prove his or her love by trusting you. Remember, trust lives in the other person's mind, not in your behavior. Being paranoid means having trust issues. Your actions cannot fix those problems. Paranoids will tell you that past betrayals made them as they are. Take their pain seriously, but don't believe that anything you can do will heal them. Never try to deceive the paranoid. If a vampire cuts you in the tiniest lies, and he will feel justified for all the future questions. Paranoids will go through your drawers checking your cell phone or odometer of your car. Whatever evidence they will find, that means for them they were right to search. Green-eyed monsters will also listen closely in your words and looking to actions to find out what you are exactly thinking of them. If your interest began to fade, there is no point of trying to hide it. They will know it. It may be less painful if you end the things there. Or you can try to fix it and find good therapist for couples. If you can't answer the big question honestly, so if you can't tell that you're really still interested in the other person, then it's time to leave. Paranoids believe in eternal punishment. If relationship ends, avoid the person. When you leave or they threw you out, paranoids will want you back. Mostly this has to do nothing with love, but with vengeance. Don't be polite. Vampires, your kindness can misunderstand as sign of coming back to relationship. If you end it, don't discuss it, just go. Don't accept phone calls or visits. If you are divorcing paranoid, let your lawyer to talk. To fight the paranoid vampire, do what they don't. Look for simplicity everywhere. Where vampires hold to be complex, like the reasons they are cruel and unforgiving, they are simply mad because everybody does not do everything their way. Also, trust others until there is no reason to, and always be open to second opinions. One of the things paranoid vampires want is to be understood. You can give them that without giving in their pressure. Always listen, but don't confuse listening with obedience. Pay attention to actions, not words. Paranoids always see their actions as complete acceptable. They often justify rage, rancor, emotional abuse as conforming to a higher morality, applicable only to gods and paranoids. Don't waste your time by asking them why they do it. Once paranoids start rationalizing anything possible, except admitting them that their motives were less than pure. Remember, paranoids behave like infants, as most of the vampires do. They want the few people they trust to meet their needs immediately, and they punish those people severely for not doing so. Focus on what they actually do, not what and why they say they do. Paranoids create alternative reality where they expect you to structure your life according to their simple visual rules. If you don't obey, they take it as personal rejection. If you don't stop them since beginning, they will mock you with never-ending questions as what you think and what you do. The paranoid mind is simple. If you don't think what I want you to think, it's because you hate me. For paranoids, independent thinking is a threat. In deeper trance, paranoids try to isolate you from other sources, even making people to leave you, until you finally believe in what comes from them. Paranoid hypnosis is the purest brainwashing. They invented cults and techniques to keep people believing them. The more you let to isolate you, the worse it gets. To protect yourself, you have to refuse to cooperate since beginning. Played paranoid in your own hypnotic bind. If you love me, you'll accept my right to believe whatever I want, and as long as it does not hurt you directly. Get paranoids to make specific promises about what they will do and what not do. Needless to say, the whole structure will collapse if they ever catch you in the smallest lie. The battle you can never win with paranoid is proving that you are trustworthy. You could die for them, but that still not convince the paranoid. Fight the idea that trust is in their mind, not in your behavior. For green-eyed monsters, use your attention as reward for trust, not jealousy. The contingencies like, if you do this, I will do that, will work. Paranoids love to argue. They can argue for hours and not learn anything. The best is never to let them start. If you leave the room when paranoid wants to argue when they follow you to close door, yelling at you, it's a form of mental abuse, violence. It will escalate over the time. Know your limits. Choose your words carefully. Never ask why. Paranoids have an explanation for everything, and they will persist until you accept what they say out of sheer exhaustion. Paranoids are sensitive to criticism, but they can listen to it, even learn something, mostly until next time when they will have again trust issues. It's very effective to ask a paranoid how the concepts relate to current situation. Question: what is the honorable thing to do here? Does love require to forgive? Does loyalty mean never disagreeing? If this sort of stuff does not work, you may dealing with other type of vampire. Paranoid can be combined with other types too. Ignore tantrums, tears, lectures, sermons, rambling rationalizations, jealous questions. Once paranoid tantrums begun, they usually go on all night. If you give in, they will go on for the rest of your life. Use all your knowledge to stop it, but know your own limits. Paranoids are the most difficult and the most dangerous emotional vampires. They will protect you, cherish you, illuminate your life, but in return they will ask absolute loyalty. No discounts, all or nothing. For some people it's the most wonderful deal of the life. For some, the most terrible nightmare. Only you can decide if you want to be close to paranoid vampire. But before you try to understand vampire, know yourself first. Therapy and self-help. Always remember, attempting psychotherapy on someone you know will make you both sicker. The goal for paranoids is to learn to tolerate the ambiguity, especially ambiguity in others' feeling toward them. A second goal is to forgive perceived betrayals. It usually takes a well-trained professional to help paranoids. Professionals who are experienced enough to not become intimidated or overwhelmed with vampires. To help yourself, you have to check the reality. Understand the things you suspect actually are not there. You can discuss this topic with trusted confidant. This person should be confident enough to tell you when you are wrong. The confidant should not be family member or someone with who you have romantic relationship. If you choose the therapist and discuss political or religious beliefs rather than training and experience, it will make you worse and you will create more suffer for everyone around you. Paranoid memories tend to turn slight. If you catch yourself running small transgressions in your mind, stop it immediately. If you don't, it will get bigger and more painful. You are creating anguish for everyone, especially yourself. Let them all go. Forgive and forget. If you can't, find a therapist. Recognize that what other people do has little to do with you. You believe in delusion that people would be appropriately loyal and respectful, they would automatically do everything the way you want them to do. Stop this. Accept that most of the people are not thinking of you at all. This is not because they are disloyal. This is normal. To get over it, allow people who are close to you to have parts of their lives that have to do nothing with you, and don't feel threatened by that. Conclusions. Vampires will try to convince you that you have no other choice as to obey their will. This is not true and never will be. Remember, when you are dealing with vampires, there is no other choice. There is other choice, even if it's just walking away. Vampires are isolated by their insatiable needs. The only way they can drain you is by isolating you too. They use hypnosis to pull you away from people you trust and convince you that rules you believe in no more exist. Don't listen. When you are dealing with vampires, trust your older friends and the rest of humanity. Safety means facing your fears. Vampires use fear and confusion to control you. If you find yourself running, turn back and face the vampire. When you deal with one, the most frightening choice is usually the right one. Your best weapons are knowledge, intuition, maturity, and good judgment. Thank you for listening. See you another time. Bye.